Hey everybody, Christa here. Today I'm going to show you how to pressure can meat. Don't be scared though, it's easy. I used to be terrified of pressure canning, but once you follow the instructions, take it slow, there's really nothing to be scared of. Okay, essential equipment, lids, rings, and jars. Your pressure canner, I like the Presto canner, but you can use whichever canner you feel comfortable with. You cannot, however, use the smaller size Instant Pots. The electric pressure canners, you cannot, or pressure cookers really, they are not meant for canning. I have seen that the large 10-quart size one you can use for canning. I like the ones you put on the stove because there's no widgets and gadgets that'll break. Done. So a couple other things, a canning funnel is really nice so that you keep the lid clear of any debris. Also with your jars, make sure that they are clean. They don't have to be sterilized when you're pressure canning, but make sure there's no cracks in the bottoms or the sides or chips in the top. Because if there's chips in the top, then this will not seal and your food will go rancid and go bad. So you don't want that to happen. Another couple of really cool tools to have is this little magnet gadget here. When you're taking out your lid from the warm water before you put it on here, it's kind of nice not to have to touch the hot lid. So, and then when you go to take your jar out of the hot pressure canner, you have this handy dandy gadget that will lift the jar out so that you're not burning yourself. There have been times, and this is just once in a great while, the bottom will crack off. If you're not, like I said, if you're not paying attention to cracks and stuff in your jar, the bottom can crack off, and you don't want to touch that because it could cut you. So this is a handy tool. Then all you need is the meat you want to can and some salt. We really like to use the Himalayan pink salt. It's got lots of good minerals, but you can use whatever salt you prefer, kosher salt, any kind of sea salt, whatever you like. So the meat that we're canning today is turkey breasts. You can use this same process for any kind of meat you want to process. Beef, pork, chicken, ground beef is a little bit different, but it's the same kind of process. So we're gonna take our turkey breasts and just cut it into small pieces like this, and then add some water and salt to our jars. So we'll start by cutting it. You want pretty even sized chunks, cubes. So you want about an inch cube. Some are a little bit bigger, so we'll just cut those into slightly smaller, but you want them all about the same. Next, you're going to want to load your meat into the jars. You don't want to cram it down in there. You want it just loosely in there because otherwise it could make your jars crack if it is too compact. So we're just gonna kind of lightly put that down in there, and that's as much as you want to go. So you want it below this rim here, so you need about an inch headspace. Okay, next up, we're gonna go ahead and add our salt into it. If you're canning quart-sized jars, you're going to use 1 teaspoon of salt. If you're using pint-sized jars, a half a teaspoon of salt. And we'll just put this right on top, and then we'll add the water. Now, this is the raw pack method. You can pre-cook the meat. I prefer doing it this way because it is so very easy. So very easy. Next up, we're going to go ahead and fill this with water. We're going to go slowly so that it doesn't overflow. We want it to get down in all of the cracks and crevices. Now there's another tool that you can use. You can use a plastic spoon or a spatula. I've got another really cool gadget that will help to get all of the air pockets out. Okay, this is that gadget, and it actually has a really cool little staircase on here that tells you how much headspace you have. So it goes from 1 inch down to whatever that says. I can't read it, I don't have my glasses on. So the other side, however, you can take it and go down the sides of the jar It's not piercing the meat. I mean, you could do it with a knife, but you're going to stab the meat. But this way then it gets all of those pockets of air filled with water. Next, you're going to take a clean rag and some white vinegar, and you're going to wipe down the rims of your jars. So just this little bit. The vinegar's not going to affect the meat in any way. It's just to clean off that jar so that the lid has a good seal. You don't want any meat or salt or any contaminants on that ring, otherwise the lid won't seal. Next, you're going to take your lids and you're going to put them in some warm water on the stove here just to heat them a little bit. You want those rubber seals to be nice and soft so they seal really well. Now, you don't need to put these on the stove for very long. You don't need to sterilize them because they're going to be sterilized when you pressure can all of this. Now we're going to go ahead and put our lids on. Next, we're going to go ahead and put the rings on. Now, we're not going to crank these down super Hercules tight. We just want to do them slightly finger tight because this is going to have to release gases and liquids and things like that. Yes, it will leak into the pressure canner, but that's really okay because it's cooking, it's boiling over, but there will still be liquid inside these jars and as your food cooks. This is not going to stop the sealing process, but it does help. It helps keep that lid on and your food from boiling out. Okay, now we're going to get our canner ready to go. I do put some old rings on the bottom just to kind of lift up this plate on the bottom here, just so that there is more water because you're steaming these jars, so you're not going to want to fill it all the way up over the top of the jar. You realistically only need about an inch or so at the bottom. Now we have well water here, so it is a hard water. So I put a little bit of vinegar in the pressure canner so that the jars, it's silly, so that the jars don't have all that hard water on the sides. Okay, so this is about how much water you need, right in there. Now we're gonna go ahead and get our canner heated up. And we'll put the top on it just to hold any pressure inside. Now, one quick word on the cooktop itself. A lot of manufacturers say do not pressure can on a glass cooktop. Now, a friend of mine, she has done it, but you know, check your manufacturer. I don't know if it's a good idea. I have never done it. It kind of scares me because that is a lot of heat right there on glass. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's a good idea, but you check with your manufacturer. Now, you're not going to cover the vent as of right now because you need to let pressure out of here for 10 minutes before putting your weight on top. Now, this one is a really cool weight. It actually has 3 different weights to it. This is 5 pounds per square inch. This is 10 pounds per square inch, and this is 15. So wherever you're at, you need to find out what pressure you need to can at. In our area, we pressure can at 10 PSI, so we only need the bottom one. And this will automatically let out the pressure so you don't have to really sit and babysit it too terribly long. Of course, you do need to pay attention to make sure it doesn't go crazy. Okay, so I did put this on a high heat just to get it going. Once you start seeing steam from here, and you can wait to see steam for 10 minutes, then you can go ahead and put your weight on and then probably back off your heat a little bit, but make sure you're paying attention. You don't want too high pressure. Okay, so it's been steaming like this for 10 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and put our 10 PSI weight right on there. And wait till it comes up to 10 PSI, and then we'll just kind of back the temperature off just a little bit. And we're gonna do that. We're gonna keep this at 10 PSI for 90 minutes. Yes, I said 90 minutes. That's a long time. Okay, I just wanna point a couple of things out on our canner. So we've got this here that is clearly venting steam. This is the locking system here, so that you cannot open this in any way until the pressure has come down. Then also on the back right here, you see this little black knob? This is the safety valve. It is a rubberized seal that if this has too much pressure in it, it will pop. It will burst. So don't worry about this lid exploding into your ceiling, those horror pictures that you've seen where it explodes. This pressure valve prevents that. So we've gotten to 10 PSI. We're gonna set the timer for 90 minutes. And then when 90 minutes is up, we're gonna shut this off and leave it alone. I understand that if you are making multiple batches, you're gonna wanna empty it. Please just wait. You have to wait until it cools down before you make another batch. Now by cooling down, I mean several hours. I actually leave mine at least 24 hours before opening it and putting the jars away. You do not want to open this up while it's hot. Even when the pressure is released, you don't want to open it up while it's hot because jars have been known to explode. A friend of mine actually had one explode all over the front of her, and she was severely burned. So please be careful. Wait until it cools down completely. Now when this is completely cool, you're going to take your awesome doodad and you're going to take these jars out. You will remove the rings after it's completely cooled because you don't want to store them with the rings on there. You want to leave the lids on, but take the rings off like this because water can get trapped in there and it will create rust, and then your seal will not stay nearly as long as you would like. So we waited our time, the whole 90 minutes, we turned off the canner and we let it sit for an entire day. You could let it sit overnight. Whenever you do this, you want it to be completely cool before taking them out. So here, you take them out with your handy dandy grabber dealy thing, and this is what you get. You have completely cooked, canned, sealed turkey or ground beef. Not ground beef, beef or pork or chicken, whichever you prefer. But it is sealed and it will stay on your shelf for a very long time. I can't give you those exact amounts because they change. They change. Anyway, this will stay on your shelf for a very long time. It is delicious. You can take this right out of the can, make this broth into a gravy, and you can put this over rice or potatoes or in a salad, make a turkey salad, whatever you prefer. It is so easy, so delicious. Absolutely love canned meat, and it saves so much money. We spent $1.59 on those turkey breasts. There were 6 of them, and there was 20 pounds of turkey breasts that we have canned. So that saved us a ton of money. I'm Christa with the Big Family Homestead, and you have an amazing day.